Cyberpunk 2077 has been the most anticipated video game to date, and the stakes were especially high since the development team CD Projekt Red has been delaying the game since April. Everyone, including myself, had high hopes for this game, and today I'll be going over my first impressions of Cyberpunk 2077. If you haven't yet had a chance to play the game or don't want any spoilers, let me go and tell you right now to stop watching this video. I'll be talking about the first 5-ish hours I spent in game, and that'll probably include a lot of details about the main story up to the point that I've played. So yeah, you've been warned. When you start the game, you can choose from 3 life paths: Nomad, Street Kid, and Corpo. I chose Street Kid since it matched my vibe the best of the 3 options, and if you go with Street Kid, you'll start off your game in a bar where you get involved in a plan to steal a supercar. Right from the start, the atmosphere and immersion was great. The game looked great and had that shady city vibe that I've been personally waiting to experience. Street Kid V is definitely the man of the town. He knows everyone in town, everyone knows him, and he protects his people, and he takes deals with outsiders, and all that I figured out in the first few seconds of this intro. Long story short, the whole opening sequence is full of twists and interactions, and then you meet Jackie, who is supposed to be your best friend throughout the story. And I'm assuming this is the point when the 3 intros converge and the game really starts in common for everyone. Once you get thrown to Night City, you can kind of do whatever you want. There's plenty of side quests that keep popping up on your cell phone from fixers that are trying to get you some jobs to eliminate people or go check stuff out. And you can run into random firefights in the street, and the police might be fighting some thugs that are trying to assault someone, steal a car, or just a bunch of random stuff. Aside from all that, if you take a second to look around, Night City is pretty well fleshed out, and you can tell the developers took a long time to detail some of the nooks and crannies of the place. I've been running around for the first 20 minutes of the game without doing any story related quests, and I couldn't find a single spot that seemed kind of underappreciated. And it's just a great vibe to just walk around the city or run around and see what people are up to, like listen to their side dialogue, listen to the sounds on the streets, and just experience Night City. Then you start to notice the bugs. So far I haven't run into anything game breaking, but there's definitely a few times when I felt the immersion was interrupted by a glitched out NPC or a random texture that just pops in, or even just minor assets that don't behave like they should. The first major glitch that stood out to me was actually right in the beginning during that intro sequence when the cops pull up on V and Jackie. The whole sequence was building up in tension, and then the 2 police cars just kind of whip in out of nowhere and just kind of glitch through the parking lot structural poles, I guess, and it honestly caught me so off guard that I had to laugh out loud. In an open world RPG like Cyberpunk, immersion has to be one of the top priorities. The player should feel like they're part of the world, navigating it within the rules and laws of physics. Floating chopsticks and running at the speed of light on street railings just shouldn't be a thing.
Shit, hit the nail on the head, V.
I've heard a lot of players complaining about Gunplay, but honestly I thought it was fine. You can't expect the RPG to tune its gameplay to Call of Duty levels just because it wouldn't be a great place to dump time and resources, I feel like, to really tune that, especially when the level design and the story and the character interactions and the immersion is just that much more important. Also, not to mention the gunplay in the beginning of the game just might not be accurate of an indication of the final stages, because I know you can get perk points that you can spend on upgrades that can affect the way you handle your weapon and maybe your accuracy and amount of damage and how the weapon feels. I think all of that would affect the final take on how gunplay really is in Cyberpunk, and I just haven't played enough and upgraded my guns enough to say whether it feels satisfying or not. But one thing that I did find a little bit odd was the driving. And you could make the point that driving isn't as important of an aspect in an RPG either, and I'd say that's valid, but as soon as I hopped in the car, like the first thing I noticed was how difficult it was to control it and just get from point A to point B. And I found myself walking a lot more than even trying to call my car to go from point A to point B. And I'm pretty sure there's no skill upgrades that makes V a better driver, so I can only judge based on the initial experience. And it's possible that I just haven't adjusted to it and I'm just used to driving in other games that are just not as similar, but the cars really feel super drifty and they just slide all over the place. It just feels a little bit messy to me. But you gotta remember, these are just my initial impressions, and all in all, I'm super excited to see V's story unfold in Night City. It seems like there's a lot at play. You got Militech, you got Arasaka, you got your street folk, your family, you got Jackie, the Moxes. There's just so many groups that are just intersecting in different ways throughout the story, and I'm really excited to see how all that goes down. I even feel like just in the first couple missions that I had to betray some of the organizations that I decided to make deals with it just to help myself out in the long run. And the decision making has so far felt like super heavy on me, and you know, I'm kind of an indecisive person, so I have to really think about what I'm going to say before I say it, because I know that's going to alter the path of the story and the people that I'm friends with in the story. So that's been pretty interesting. And I really hope the devs go ahead and patch some of these more common bugs, and I'm sure they will, especially after this first week of the Cyberpunk launch. And hopefully in week 2 we can fully immerse ourselves in this beautiful world that they've created. But that's all I've got to say for now, guys. If you liked the video, you can check out my second channel where I'll be posting a lot more Cyberpunk related videos, and actually just all sorts of gaming videos moving forward. And feel free to check out my other videos here on Xero Films and subscribe if you like what you see. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.